I think it's kind of interesting that I was asked to talk about ask, because when we first started, I would go on and do appointments, and I'd come home and Jim go, where's the check? Because at that time, Reliv didn't send product. You know, you took the product or you mailed it yourself. So I would do an appointment, I'd come home, and he'd go, how'd the appointment go? And I go, it's great. And he's like, well, so where is it? And I said, where's what? And he goes, the check. And I'm like, I didn't get it. And he goes, well, why not? And I said, well, you're going to call him. I go, you're going to do it. Because he was a lot better at that than me. He's a finance guy. Way back, I mean, he always talked about how much your business was worth. This is like way back in 1992. He'd calculate this. I mean, he's a brain at all that. And I said, Jim, I go, that's your talent, not mine. I go, you ask him for the money. I go, you explain all that. So anyway, I did learn. And I think it's interesting because as we're going through an appointment and we've done all this work, we've probably maybe done follow-up with people before, we've talked to them, we've done all these things, and then we get to the end. And then I know what you're thinking because I thought it too. And you're thinking, ooh, now what? You know, ooh, you know what? The whole idea is to help a person make a decision. And they're not going to make it unless you ask. And it's so funny because we think, well, they're just going to figure it out on their own. No, they don't. You have to ask. And what usually happens is someone will go, yeah, you know, I'm interested in this. And what most people go is they'll go, oh, okay, let me get you more information. No, that's not what we're supposed to do. Oh, here's my clicker. So go back here. All right, so we're going through all of this, and when we get to the end, there's so many things that people will say. You know, did you like what you saw? Blah, blah, blah. Everyone has different things. I'm going to tell you what I say, and it's not what maybe might work for you, but it's what works for me. And I've always said that you need to find your own voice. You're going to hear things, you've heard things from Kimberly and Amy and Diane and myself and Tammy, and you'll find that we all do things a little bit differently, but that's because we're true to ourselves. And when you try to be something that you're not, it's just simply not going to work. So when I get to the end, something that works for me is I tell them the truth. We've talked about a lot of stuff. You're not going to remember everything, but what interests you? Was it the product, was it the business, or both? And you're going to get a lot of responses back to that. But I think the most important thing is that you need to ask them. And if you don't ask them, you're not going to get an answer. So you don't want to pressure them into saying something. You don't want to muscle them because they don't like that. You need to ask them and then accept whatever answer they say. So I'm clicking. Okay. So you're going to get points where people will say, well, if I like the product, I'll look closer at the business. Has that ever happened to you? Well, I can't do the business if I don't know these products work. Have you ever had that? And you know, and then you're thinking, oh, brother. But you know what? You have to listen to them. And I know you think that because I did. And it's okay. But I've learned to respect that. I've also learned that when I try to go, well, you know, that's fine, but you really, you have to listen to what they're saying. And what I also find interesting is that if we're going to ask a question, accept the answer. And that's a huge thing here. When someone tells to me this, if I like the product, I'll look closer at the business, and then there's another slide, the business sounds interesting, you know, all these things. You can read this, let's review the business options, explain the advantages of master affiliate. I'm going to tell you, if they tell me I'm interested in the product, or if they tell me I'm interested in the business, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to say, you know what, let's review what your options are. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to, if I have, and we'll talk about this tool in a minute, I'll use my, my business tool, What's Your Time Worth, or if I've have my Mac there or my iPad, I'm going to go back to the stair steps and show them what their options are. And this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to tell them, look, if you're going to be doing a business, you really need to understand you know, how to run your business the right way, because people are going to do what you do. So let me show you what this is. And we go right into Master Affiliate, and I explain to them why they want to position themselves there. Number one, they can make the highest profit level. It's the highest profit level, they'll make highest wholesale profit, And it just positions themselves to take advantage of all those forms of income. And, you know, if they say, well, you know, have you guys ever have people that will tell you, well, I don't know, you know, that's just a lot of money. And I will go back and say, well, compared to what? Now it's 100% money back guarantee. There's really not any risk. Let me show you what that order looks like. And I'll have a master affiliate order there ready for them. I always have a master affiliate order ready. I have a 35% order ready, a 30 and 25%. I have those orders ready to show them what it looks like. So, and then when you have people, let's say if somebody comes in and says, well, yeah, I think that I want to do this. I'll always ask people, is this for your own personal consumption, or what are you going to do with it? And if they say, well, you know, I'd really like to market it, then I'm going to load up at more of the super PACs and things that they can do to get a quick return on their investment. So you always want to make sure that you're prepared. I will tell you, I relied on my husband to do all that stuff. He likes doing all that. I'm like, oh, this is, you know, to me, that was kind of red light stuff. I thought, I don't need to know that, until people started asking me, well, what does this look like? Ooh. And then I think, oh my gosh, I wish I had all that information. So before I would go on these appointments, my husband would load me up, and I felt like a Girl Scout. I mean, I would just have everything, you know, that motto, be prepared, and I'd have absolutely everything. But sure enough, people will ask you. So you need to be prepared to be able to answer people's questions. So I know what that's meaning is you're probably thinking, well, I'm new and I'm not prepared. And I was new too. And we all have to kind of go through all that. All right, so why is it that we hesitate to ask people questions? First of all, before I forget, on the front of your book, do you see those initials? ICSAR. See it all? So on Wednesday night, it was like 11:30 at night, and I'm like, I know what that means. I looked at that and I thought, what does that mean? And I mean, I knew what that meant, but I said, what does that mean? And you know what it means? Do you want to know? I can succeed at Reliv. That's what that means. And so everything that we're talking about, this isn't a smorgasbord. You can't just select which one you want to use. We're talking about fundamentals that really work to help you succeed at Reliv. Sorry, I got off base. I have a tendency to do that sometimes, but so you better pay attention or you'll miss out. All right. People hesitate. Okay. Fear. You also want to know what fear means? It's false evidence appearing real. I don't know why I do these things. It's just kind of one of those things that I think about, but that's what it is. And usually the reason that we don't ask people is because we're more afraid ourselves. And I'm just going to ask you 3 questions, and let's just go through them. The first one is, do you believe that Reliv is the very best direct sales, network marketing, home business on the planet? I do. That's pretty weak. Do you believe it? Yes. Okay, much better. All right. So here's the second question. And the question is, do you believe that we have the very best products through Dr. Carl and Dr. Galvez? Yes, we do. All right, so here's the next question, and I absolutely do not want you to even chirp if you don't really believe this. And you might want to get all excited about it, but I really want you to be honest with yourself. It's that personal integrity. The third question, which I think really keeps us away from asking, is this. Do you believe that you honestly can be successful at Reliv? Do you believe it? Okay, that's good. Because here's the thing. That's what keeps us. We're so afraid of what other people think. We're afraid that we're not going to have success. Do you guys realize how many times I've messed up? Do you realize how many times I've given away cases of product? Oh, they'll pay us later. Never do. Do you really? I mean, I have done absolutely everything wrong, but I'm still here. Because I always knew from the very, very beginning that we got involved in Reliv that we would have success. And what did that mean? For me, it was simply not having a heart attack when I would go shopping. I heard that first when Joyce Holthouse said that, and it's always lingered with me, and it's the truth. It was to be able to go into the grocery store and not panic. That to me meant I was wealthy. Was to be able to buy watermelon when it wasn't the very cheapest. Just those simple things. I wasn't looking for all these grand things. I just wanted to be able to stay home and be a mom. But I knew I had to get over that fear, and I was scared. I'd go through the marketing plan, and people would say, is this network marketing? And I'd panic and I'd freeze. But pretty soon, I got to say, absolutely. Do you have any experience? You know, like, yeah, it sure is, buddy. And so, you know, I mean, your whole attitude just changes. When you know what you have and you want to have success in what you do, you have to believe it yourself. But why are you going to go through and do all of these appointments when you're not going to ask someone to make a decision? You have to ask them. And it doesn't matter what the end result is. You're never going to know unless you ask. And that's just really one of the most important things that we have to do. I will tell you the reason that I never came home with a check is I didn't like to ask people for money. And I said, Jim, I don't want anybody to think that I'm selling them something. And Jim's like, you are selling them something. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just sharing. And he's like, no, you're selling. And so here's the thing. We are selling a product. We pay for it, and that's how we get paid is when we do an appointment and people make decisions. But if they don't make decisions, nothing's going to happen. So we get scared of that. And we really just have to share the information, and you'll be surprised at how many people will go ahead and make a decision. Let me tell you one thing about this. The person that sponsored us, they never asked us what we wanted to do. This is a true story. My husband reads everything, finance guy, and this is when the notebooks were still, the paper was like all sideways, and Jim would read it this way, and he'd call in every day to relive, like, what's this mean? And so one night, we invited our sponsor over, and because Jim was going to talk to him about the compensation plan. And he happened to bring his 3 little boys, and I had Jessica and Steph there. They were only 2 and 4, and his kids were a little bit older, 3 boys. My 2 precious, cute little girls, and they were terrors, and they were just completely destroying my house, and I'm like, get these kids out of here. And in the kitchen, I can hear Jim going, yes, I can go master affiliate. And the sponsor's going, no, I don't think so. I don't think you can go master affiliate. Jim's like, yes, I can. It says so right here, and I'm going to go master affiliate tomorrow. You guys, that's how we came in, going master affiliate. So we went ahead and made that decision, but don't always think that everybody's going to do that, because they don't. You have to ask it. So we just simply have to share the information. All right. Another thing is that you've never done this before. You guys, I've done everything wrong. I went out and I remember that, I think George and Debbie Grenz are here, and I remember this appointment specifically because I'd been doing appointments for a couple days. I was away from home, and Debbie was my last appointment, and I had like counted my shakes out, and I was 1 less. Well, for me, that is not good. So I'm doing this appointment, and I'm like, you know, trying to wake up, going through, and I know I got all the numbers wrong. I'm like, man, I hope she's not good at math, because I know I got them all wrong. And so at the end, though, I asked her the question. I said, you know, we've gone through a lot. Where do you see yourself? And she says, I need to think about this. I'm like, okay. So I call home. I'm like, Jim, I did all the wrong things. And he goes, well, did you ask her to make a decision? I'm like, I did. So then she calls me, and she goes, I want to meet. So we met, and I said, so where do you see yourself getting started? And she goes, the master affiliate. So you know what? It doesn't matter if you don't have to know everything. You can mess up. They don't know what you're doing unless they're really good at math. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. You just have to ask. You're gonna mess up. Who cares? Everybody learns. That's what we need to do. How do we learn? We learn by doing it together. You need to borrow the strength of your upline, cross line, go down line. You just need to have that strength of others. I remember that when we first started this, I would do appointments with my dog. You know, in my kitchen when I'm cooking, the refrigerator would be the other person I was talking to. I mean, I wanted to learn this. I wanted this to be a part of me to where if I burped, it would all come out. I mean, that's what I wanted. So you guys, you need to know that this is it. You learn by doing it together. 2 stories are better than 1. The more that you do, the easier it gets. I was scared. I didn't want to do this, but my husband always uses this picture of a hound dog sitting on a tack. And he said, when the tack gets sharp enough, the hound dog will move. And I thought, I don't want to be the hound dog sitting on the tack. I knew what I wanted, and I knew that Reliv was the vehicle. Here's the thing, I think we all know Reliv's the vehicle, but if you don't ask, you can do everything else, but if you don't ask, it will not happen. So you need to get familiar with that and not be afraid, and just realize that it's going to do. Tools are going to build your confidence, but don't make them a crutch. I have had it happen where people are talking to people, they do an appointment and they go, yeah, you say, well, I get to the end and I'll ask them, what interests you, what would you like to do? And if they say, I'd like to do the business, you don't say, okay, I'll get you more information. You guys do that. I know you do, because I've had it done with some people in my group. Don't do that. When someone says, yes, I'd like to move forward, move forward. You don't need to give them another story. You don't need to do any of that. You need to do what Tammy's going to do, and that's register and go. That's the most important thing. All right, here's the decision tool. I love this. You know why I like this? Because this can help you. You simply can show them let me show you what your options are. Okay, you're asking them. Hear that? Let me show you what your options are. Open that up, and then right here you can go through the whole thing. 10%, then the 10% distributor. It tells you exactly, key affiliate, what your volume is, 1,500 your investment, 1,050 your profit, 250 or 450. You guys, this is like a cheat sheet that's legal. It's right there. You don't have to know all this stuff. You just need to read it. Don't you agree? You don't have to understand it. This is the best thing ever. And I'm just telling you, don't make it so hard. Don't overthink this process. Don't think, well, gee, if I look wrong, they're not going to do this. It has nothing to do with that. You do your appointment, you do your 3 ways, you go through the process, and then you ask, and they're going to say yes or no. And, the wrong way, if they say no, is you don't want to say, well, gee, you're a jerk. You want to go, okay, that's fine. You want to make sure you listen to those answers. Sorry. They'll probably delete that out of the thing. So, all right, so it's really important that when you're asking for that decision and people say, yes, I'd like to know, and what, I always say, let's go back and we go through this, or again, we go through the stair step. It's important that you help people understand that if they're going to do the business, regardless of what level they're going to come in, they're doing the exact same thing. So why wouldn't you want to make the most profit for the same amount of time and effort? That's the most important thing that you can help share with people, is to help understand that. Retail distributor, 10%, or master affiliate, that's the microphone, 40%. So that's the most important thing. All right, keep things simple. Make sure that you're listening. And here's the thing, if you're very product focused during that appointment and that's all you're focusing on, that's what you're going to get back, is probably a person that's going to consume the product. I've never been a product person. I used to think that I was terrible because all I wanted to share was the business. We built our business by asking people, if I could show you how to make $500 a month, would that interest you? And I didn't go, gee, if they sneezed, oh, you need Reliv. That's not how I built my business. I built it from being a business perspective, because that's what interests me. And I always felt to myself, am I money hungry because that's what motivated me, because I wanted to build that business? No, that's what I needed. I got life-changing results on these products, life-changing. I feel that I have an IV connected into me of Reliv stuff 24/7, because I love these products. They're my primary food. I eat, but I take my Reliv shakes. And so whatever you're doing, when you're building the business, just remember, if you want to build a business, talk business. If you want a retail product, then talk product. But retailing is much harder than building a business. And make sure that if you're going to build a business, you need to ask for a decision.